Hey, sixth grade. We were introduced to some problems with fractions last week, and it seems like some of us needed a little introduction or practice with simplifying fractions. So I'm sorry if that caused you any stress last week. So we're going to spend today learning how to simplify fractions. So remember to copy down the notes that are in red. Notes that are in black are optional. So our two goals are to identify factors of a number, and then goal number 2, use a common factor and division to simplify fractions. So a factor is a number that can fit evenly into another number. So 2 is a factor of 6 because 2 can fit into 6. There are some divisibility tricks that you can pause the video and write down. For those of you who are not as quick with mental math, these divisibility tricks might be helpful. I will explain some of them quickly, but not all of them. So, a number is divisible by 2 if it is even. That should be pretty self-explanatory. So if you have a fraction and both numbers are even, then you know you can at least divide by 2. All right, we're going to focus on the 3's. So it says a number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits are divisible by 3. So what this means, if we have a number like 522, a lot of us can't look at it and figure out if it's divisible by 3. But if you add up these digits, if we have 5 plus 2 plus 2, we can think of that as 5 plus 2 plus 2. We know that that is equal to 9. And we can figure out if 9 is divisible by 3. We know that we can divide 9 by 3 and get a whole number. So that means that the sum of the digits, 522, are divisible by 3. So that means 522 is divisible by 3. So if for some reason you have a fraction that has 522 in it, you know that you're able to divide that by 3. If we have a number like 634, well, if we add up 6 plus 3 plus 4, that equals 13. And we cannot divide 13 evenly by 3, so that means 634 is not divisible by 3. So the common numbers that we're looking for, of course, are 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. If the sum of your digits adds up to one of those, you can divide it by 3. A number is divisible by 4 if the last two digits are divisible by 4. So what's that is saying? If we have a number like 22,316, we only need to focus on the last two digits. And the reason for this is the fact that 4 can fit into 100 evenly. So if it can fit into 100 evenly, that means it can fit into any hundreds or thousands evenly. So it's just the last two numbers that we have to look for. We know that 16 can be divided by 4 evenly, so that means 22,316 can be divided by 4 evenly. A number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is a 5 or 0. A number is divisible by 6 if it is an even number divisible by 3. So if you use our trick to figure out if a number can be divided by 3 and the number is even, that means it is divisible by 6. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits are divisible by 9. So we're going to use the same trick that we did for 3's, except the number has to be divisible by 9. So that means we would want the number to add up to a 9 or an 18 or 27. So 522 is actually divisible by 9. And a number is divisible by 10 if the number ends in a 0, which I think we could figure out. 30, 40, 200, 280, 1000. Those can all be divided by 10. So when we are simplifying fractions, I don't know why these are in the middle. So we have a fraction, and we're going to be dividing both of these numbers by a common factor until we get them down to its simplest term. So there are a lot of numbers that we can divide 30 and 72 by. So we're looking for a factor, so a number that goes in evenly to 30 and to 72. And we write it out like this. And we're going to assume that we are a little slow with math facts, but I know that both of these numbers are even. So I'm going to show my division as I'm going to be dividing by 2 over 2. So I'm dividing both of these numbers by 2. And that leaves us with 15 over 36. So now our fraction is a little bit simpler. In this case, we're not all the way done. Now it's like, all right, I can still divide. I'm going to divide these by 3. And if I use my last trick, I know that for 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. I know I can divide 6 by 3. And 3 plus 6 is 9. I could also divide that by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 36 divided by 3 is 12. And this is my simplified fraction. So I started with 30 70-seconds, and I simplified that down to 5/12. 45 75ths. First thing I notice is that both of these numbers end in a 5. And if a number ends in a 5 or a 0, I can divide by 5. So I'm going to look and go, oh, well, 45 divided by 5 is 9. 75 divided by 5 is 15. So that's a really good start. I can still simplify this down and divide by 3. And I end up with 3/5. 24/30. Well, they're both even. So I'm going to divide by 2. That's going to give me 12/15. Oh, I can divide these by 3 also. And that's going to leave me with 4/5. So on these 3 problems, I have used 2 sets of numbers to divide by. You don't always need to do that depending on how good your math facts are. So if I had 24/30 again, and I realize, excuse me, that, oh, these are even and divisible by 3, I can make my life easier by just dividing by 6. And that would give me the same answer of 4/5. So instead of dividing by 2 and then by 3, I could get the same answer of 4/5 by using my math facts and dividing by 6 right away. So that sort of step takes some practice. It is perfectly fine to baby step through. Like this problem is perfectly done. This problem is perfectly done. So don't feel like you have to find the biggest number right away. One more example. Well, 75 over 125. I know that I can divide both of these by 5, but I could also go bigger and say, oh, I'm going to divide both of these by 25. And that's going to equal 3/5. It's very important to show your division as a fraction, because we aren't just dividing by 25, we're dividing by 25/25ths, because we don't want our fraction to change, we just want it to be simplified. So 25/25ths has the same value of 1. We're really dividing our fraction by 1. We want our fraction to stay the same, just to be simplified. Hope this video helped.